I've been making videos about Fort Collins in northern Colorado for well over a year and a half, almost 2 years. Some of the videos talk about different areas to live, breaks Fort Collins down into different quadrants, into different sections. And in 2022, we are now going to talk to you about where to live in Fort Collins in 2022. And my eyes have really been opened working with so many different clients from all over the country and even world that each individual has definitely different needs, desires, and reasons why they are moving to Fort Collins and northern Colorado. So today's video is going to talk to you a little bit about the different areas and where to live in Fort Collins in 2022. We're going to specifically break it down into the 4 quadrants. What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Soukup with Soukup Real Estate Services here in Fort Collins, Colorado. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing if what you're looking at doing is learning everything there is to know about northern Colorado and Fort Collins. And if at the end of the video you've enjoyed the content, give it a thumbs up, comment, engage. That's great. And if you are looking at moving to northern Colorado or Fort Collins, or buying, selling, or investing, give me a call, text, or email. We are licensed real estate agents and look forward to working with those that reach out. Without any further delay, let's jump into where to live in Fort Collins in 2022. Hope you enjoy. So on this video, we are going to break it down into quadrants. Fort Collins is kind of on a grid system, very easy to navigate. We've got basically 4 or 5 main arteries going northwest, north-south, and 4 or 5 main arteries going east-west. The main crossroads for today's discussion will be College and Prospect, which will break it up into our quadrants. We will have our northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast quadrants that we were discussing here today. So the northwest, we're starting up with up the northwest. And this is probably where I've had almost the most kind of aha, epiphany type moments for clients. Specifically, I've had a couple clients, one from Chicago, one from Boston, that really, really like the northwest. They want to be minutes from going outdoors, hiking, getting to Horsetooth Reservoir, or driving up the Pooter, or getting to Red Feather to go camping. And that's really what, from my perspective, what the northwest offers the most. Some really awesome neighborhoods are the ponds out in the northwest kind of area. And again, perspective here in Fort Collins is crucial, because when I was showing these clients specifically from Chicago, I said, hey, be careful within a half mile. There's a pretty fair amount of rentals around. Not that that's a bad thing, but just to be aware of that area. And he said, well, within a half mile of us, there's shootings every other day. So again, perspective is definitely very important when talking with people who are born and raised here in Fort Collins. So that being said, the Northwest also has City Park, it has Lee Martinez Park, CSU campus, and you are very close to the foothills. Now, some of the things to consider when living in the Northwest is probably if you are driving or needing to get to the airport, it is going to be your furthest commute within Fort Collins. You're going to have to commute all the way east to I-25 and then further south if you were living on the south side of town. But if you are looking at going and camping every weekend or up the Pooter to go rafting or fishing, this is definitely going to be your closest route, where maybe just even on a Friday afternoon after you get off work, or Wednesday just midday cutting out for an hour or two to go fishing, you can absolutely do this, and this would be your closest area to do that. Now, the Northwest does have some upcoming developments and redevelopments, so definitely something to be watching in this Northwest quadrant. So if your family is looking at doing those specific activities and doesn't need to travel up I-25 to DIA anytime soon or get to Denver, definitely worth considering. Now, we're gonna hit the Northeast. Now, this does encompass our Old Town Square, historic Old Town, but it also jets up north where the new Montava development's gonna be, the Saunders development, the Country Club, as well as some college rentals in this area. But I would say, because of the price of homes, rentals are getting fewer and fewer in this area, and owner-occupied properties are becoming more and more. Now, in this Northeast quadrant, specifically if you live north of Mulberry, this is probably one of the most desired areas to live for those that are looking at walking or biking everywhere, specifically to go get a beer or a coffee or grab lunch. If you are looking to come from a big community, or like Chicago, Boston, Northwest, New York, Florida areas where maybe you have kind of this more community, where you don't have to necessarily get in and drive your car everywhere, Fort Collins is a commuter community, meaning pretty much every day we are having to jump into our vehicles and drive around. Our public transportation system is not the greatest, getting better, but those that want to have that ability to bike and walk everywhere, this Northeast Quadrant really supplies the best opportunity for that. Now, this area will also include some of our industrial along Riverside, north of Mulberry. It used to be, or I believe still is our Opportunity Zone, which was a very underutilized governmental program to redevelop these industrial areas to increase the value of those areas. But it also has a lot of our breweries. We've got New Belgium, we've got Funkworks, Horse and Dragon, Equinox in this area, Coopersmiths. We have a lot of our breweries along here. We have Stillwater Brewery and different things coming down Odell's, all in this area. So it's definitely a quadrant where I would say it's a lifestyle that supplies itself to the ability to walk or drive minimally if you're working downtown specifically, or just really like that vibe and want to stay down that area. Now, if you shoot really far north, you start to get up to Terry Lake area, bigger lots, bigger areas, Gregory Road, Douglas Road, and have some opportunity to get some land and some bigger houses with room to spread. And then as you get to the Country Club Northeast, Budweiser events, or Budweiser Brewery, there will be substantial development now and in the very many years coming forward. So great area, cool area to be a part of, but be okay with the incoming construction. Now let's jump back over to the south side and keep it on the west this time. Southwest Quadrant is definitely a unique area with some really cool neighborhoods. It does have Westfield, Clarendon Hills, Taft Canyon. Again, this applies itself to people that really want to stay close to the foothills, be able to drive up Harmony Road to get to Horsetooth Reservoir very quickly, but also into Masonville and Bobcat Ridge and different hiking opportunities on that southwest side. Now, also there are a fair amount of people from or that work in or near Boulder that like this southwest area. They can hop onto US 287, get to Boulder pretty darn quick without having to get to I-25, and your commute really would probably be about 35 to 45 minutes depending on traffic and time of day that you go there. So the Southwest, one of the things that I'm not a huge fan of is our county landfill, which is almost at capacity coming 2024, 2025, depending on how our population grows and how much the trash accumulates. But we do have the Laramie County landfill on the southwest side. Now, Registry Ridge, really desirable neighborhood. It is interesting because I have a dairy care lady that lived there. Asked her about smells and sightliness of this landfill because she actually has phenomenal views. Panoramic views of the mountains from this house of hers. Beautiful, but part of her view is the landfill. So I was curious if she smelled anything or really cared too much, and she didn't. She felt like it wasn't hindrance to where she lived and really loved it to see all of the sunsets, out her back balcony, and no smells either. So something to consider. Southwest is really built out, some really great neighborhoods, good schools, and again, it takes kind of a specific individual or a family or a group that really like this area. Again, you're going to be really close to Boulder, south, so you don't have to go as far south if you're going DIA, but you do have to commute east across Fort Collins, but really close to Horsetooth Reservoir and mountains and hiking. And finally, my personal favorite quadrant, probably because I live in it and I have lived in it for my entire life, is the Southeast Quadrant. Now, this is probably the newest quadrant of Fort Collins, but we are growing. It's probably anything from 1960s and 70s and beyond. And you can kind of see as you get between, Prospect to Horsetooth, you have 1960s and the 90s. And then south of Horsetooth, you have 1990s and beyond. And now you continue to have new developments as we go east along the Harmony corridor. Some things to really take into account here on the Southeast Quadrant is we have our Foothills Mall, which will be newly redeveloped from our local developers, the McQuinneys. We also have the Front Range Shopping Village, which is very attractive for restaurants, grocery, Target, DSW shoes, lots of different opportunities and shopping there. Then from there, you also have probably the highest amount of restaurants for your entertainment and desires outside of Old Town and along kind of that 287 corridor north of Prospect Road. So the southeast side of town, really for me, you don't really have to go down to Old Town if you don't want to. You are also very close to I-25. So for my wife, when she was competing in track and field and having to go travel to DIA and to the airport all the time, the Southeast was super nice. It cut down on our commute probably 15, 20 minutes on a trip that we were pretty much taking every week or every other week. Again, the Southeast side is very new. There's lots of newer neighborhoods. It's more suburbia, great schools, Fossil Ridge, Preston. I went to Bolts and Cruz, but now Bolts and Cruz supposedly don't have the best of scores. I seem to have done okay, but that being said, Fossil Ridge, Fort Collins High School, and the like are over in this area. Some other things to mention about these quadrants really fast is the Southwest doesn't have as much grocery or shopping availability to it. Not that it doesn't have any, it just probably has the least amount of grocery, restaurants, and shopping available to it. The Northwest, one of the cool opportunities there is Beavers Market, living along City Park, some of those opportunities living downtown, and then obviously again, going up the Poudre, hiking very close to nature, and the lifestyle design choice that a lot of people here in Fort Collins desire. The Northeast, for a long time, did not have a high school associated with it. So a lot of those individuals were going to Poudre High School and having to drive a fair amount, or Wellington. Well, Timnath Middle and High School is coming in the fall of 2022. Will be a 3A division high school, the Timnath Cubs. My actually sophomore high school basketball coach is the principal there. So pretty cool, pretty exciting about that. And then the southeast side of town, again, probably the least amount of character to it as far as comparatively to the rest of the quadrants, which, definitely a lot of people moving to Fort Collins like the idea of character. But if I were to say the least thing that the southeast side is that. So whatever the quadrant is that fits you and your family desires really depends on what your goals are when moving here or living here. And there's really not necessarily a right choice of where that is. Now, with as few of homes as there are on the market and little inventory, we do have to make some accommodations. Fort Collins is a small community. It takes me about 20 minutes to get from my house on the far southeast side to Old Town Square, so not too bad. And then from my house all the way to North Reservoir 3, where my mom lives on Eagle Lake, it's about 30 minutes. So from the furthest south side of Fort Collins to the furthest north side is about 30 minutes. And from me on the southeast side to Old Town is about 20 minutes. So if you have to make sacrifices because of what quadrant you want to live in, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because it's just going to add another 5 or 10 minute drive to what you're needing to do. But these are some of the determining and distinguishing factors on these quadrants on where to live in Fort Collins, Colorado in 2022. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please, again, if you've enjoyed it, give it a comment, thumbs up, like, engage. And if you think you want to know more about Fort Collins and Northern Colorado, subscribe. And then again, we are licensed realtors. Give us a call, text, email if you're looking at buying, selling, or investing here in Northern Colorado. Until next time, take care.